Hello and welcome back to another EOS Dapp tutorial. Today we're looking at EOS Lelego. EOS Lelego has the game Baccarat, which is one of the newer games that's not a dice game, so I'm super excited about it. So this game's a little bit tricky, so I thought I'll do a video explaining the rules and how it's played so that if you're interested, you could jump in, watch this video, and then jump in and start playing right away. Let's start by looking at the interface. So here you can see there are two hands, the player hand and the banker hand. Just to clarify, the banker hand does not mean it's a house hand, it's just another hand. So you can almost think of it as hand A and hand B. So how it would work is that you place bets on which hand you think is going to win. So you could place bet on the player hand or the banker hand, or you could place a bet on tie if both hands are tied. And also you have side bets, which is the player pair and the banker pair. What this means is basically when the player gets a double ace or double two or whatever pair, that would be your payout. You win. And same thing for the banker pair. As you can see, each bet has a different payout. So if you look at the player, the payout is 1-to-1. So if you put in 1 EOS and you win, you get 2 EOS back. The banker has a little bit of a lower payout. If you put in 1 EOS and you win, you get 1.95 EOS back. And if you place a tie and both hands are tied, then you get a 8 times payout. So if you put in 1 EOS, you get 8 back. For the player pair is 1-to-11. For the banker pair is also 1-to-11. Just keep that in mind. You could bet on any combinations that you want. So you can actually place bet on all of them. Not that you would, or you could if you think that it's going to tie. And here are, you can see, is the limits. As people place bets, the limit will increase. So if you just watch and wait for people to start placing bets, here you can see EOS. There are a lot of people putting bets in. It's not big enough for it to trigger the upper limit yet, so it's still somewhere in the 1%. There you go. It's went up as someone put in 50 EOS. Here you can see the stream of people putting in the bets. So this could actually hit total, and once it hits total, no more bets could be placed. And last but not least, you could see the different chips with the values you could bet on, anywhere from 0.2 EOS to 500 EOS. So this game is designed for big players. EOS Lelego have stated they want to draw in professional gamblers into the ecosystem with this game. So that's reflected in the 500 EOS chip right there. So how is the game played? So again, you're betting on either the player hand or the banker hand, and whichever hand has the highest score wins. And the highest score in this game you could get is a 9. How that is calculated is if you have ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those have the score of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. However, if you have jack, queen, king, those have a score of 10. So you might be wondering, I just said the highest score you get is 9. So what happens when I get a face card, a jack, queen, or king that has a score of 10? Well, those are added up with the other cards. So let's say I have a jack and a 7. A jack's value is 10, a score is 10, and the 7 is, well, 7. So 10 plus 7, you get 17. And what you do is you get the rightmost digit of that number, which is 7, and that will be your score. Just to recap, you have two hands, the player hand and the banker hand, and you have two cards in each hand. If the scores of the two cards add up to be under 10, that's your score. And if the two cards add up to have a score over 10, you just take the rightmost digit. And whichever hand has the highest score after that wins the game. However, that is not all. The tricky part lies within that dirt card. So each player has the chance to get a dirt card. And the rules for whether the player or the banker gets a dirt card is different. So if you are betting on the player, if your first two cards add up to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10, you automatically draw another card, and then you have a dirt card. However, if your first two cards adds up to 6 or 7, and the banker's first two cards adds up to be 6 or 7 or more, not over 10, then you draw a dirt card. However, if you have 8 or 9, you don't draw any more cards. The rules for whether or not you get a third card on the banker's hand is a little bit different. If you get a 9 or 8, that's called natural, and you stand, you don't do anything. Also, you stand when you have a 7, if the first 2 cards add up to be a 7. However, if the banker's first 2 cards adds up to be a 3, then you draw a card, unless the player's third card is an 8. And if the banker's first 2 cards adds up to be 4, then you draw a card unless the player's third card is a 1, 8, 9, or 10. If the banker's first 2 cards has a total value of 5, then you draw a card unless the player's third card is 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, or 10. If the banker's first 2 card has the value of 6, then you draw a card unless the player's third card is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, or 10. So I know that's a lot. So we're just gonna look at a couple games and I'll just talk through them so you have a good understanding of what's going on. So I know that was a lot of information to take in. So let's just pay attention to just one side of the equation first. We're gonna be looking only at the player hand. So you have a timer there, counting down. Player, let's see what we got. So we have a 10. We have a 4. 4, you always draw a card. Then you have 14. So you have 24 there, and that will give us a score of 4. So straightforward enough. Again, if you get any score of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10, in your first 2 cards as a player, you always draw a third card. So again, just paying attention to the player side for now. So let's see, player gets a 1 and a 4, which is fine. You always draw a card, except when the banker has a natural, which he did at this time with an 8. So 8, 9 is natural, automatic wins. So that time the hand goes to banker. Same thing if you're bidding on a player and the player's hand gets a 8 or 9, it's a call natural and you win automatically. So let's move over to the banker side now. So player gets a 0, banker gets a 9, it's a natural, banker wins. However, player did get a pair, so if you did bid on the side bet of player pairs, you would have got 11 times your initial bet. So again, looking over at the banker's hand, player gets a 3, player's third card is a 10, banker draws another card. Unfortunately, banker gets a 20, so is 0. So winning goes to the player. So player has a 7 and a 4. Let's give it 1. The third card is a 2. Banker's 5. The banker stands because if you go down a little bit here, the banker stands when the banker has a 5 and the player's third card is a 2, then the banker stands. So that is the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful. I'll leave the link to everything, to the game, to the instructions below. Watch a few games before you bet. If you decide to bet, make sure you bet within reason. Don't bet more than you could afford to lose. My name is Jack Wales. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Telegram, and Twitch. I'll be doing live streams of the game. So if you want to come and chat along with me, I could answer some questions, maybe teach you a little bit more about how to play the game. But that's it. That's the video. I'll catch you next time. Peace.